heading over across the pond now to London. USA taking on Colombia in a friendly. That does it from us from Tuscaloosa.
The cosy confines of Craven Cottage in West London, the venue for the US men's national team, who wrap up a memorable 2014 with a pair of friendlies, beginning tonight with Colombia, who feature James Rodriguez, who became a genuine world superstar with his World Cup displays. So glad to welcome you into our coverage. Adrian Healy with Taylor Twellman alongside. Taylor, this is the US men's national team starting 11.
And a good test for Jurgen Klinsmann in the United States tonight. We see the return of Kyle Beckerman since the World Cup. Very interesting to watch the Fabian Johnson, Diskerud, Bedoya interchanging movement, and the first cap for Rubia Rubin up front.
What a night for him, the 18-year-old who plays for Utrecht, getting the start, and he will wear the number 9, wearing the number 10 for Colombia, a man who was a budding star, wasn't he, leading into the World Cup, but he just illuminated what we saw in Brazil.
6 goals in 5 games, and it was the way he did it, in the manner he did it. He was single-handedly the reason why Colombia went as far as they did. Goals like this against Uruguay, big goals, but it was how calm and composed he was in the final moment, whether it was his decision to lay it off, to finish plays off, and it's translated with Real Madrid. If not for Cristiano Ronaldo, he may be the hottest player in the world at the moment.
Jose Pekerman, as well as 17 of those World Cup players with him to London. An embarrassment of attacking riches for his team.
And that's why the test tonight for Jurgen Klinsmann in the United States is how they deal with the 4 attacking players: Rodriguez, Baca, Gutierrez, and Cuadrado. That is a real test for a back line of the United States.
It is a test that Jurgen Klinsmann has called a real benchmark for his team to finish off the year. A rare visit to the city of London for the US men's national team. Just their 4th ever time in the capital of England. We're a few miles away from Big Ben in the west of the city. Well, when you think of the history of the United States against Colombia, you really have to start with that sunny day in Pasadena 20 years ago, the fateful moment for Andres Escobar. Ernie Stewart giving the USA the 2-goal lead that they didn't relinquish. One of the biggest upsets of the summer. Alexi Lalas and co celebrating. Alexi will be part of our halftime show a little later on today. And as we welcome you into Craven Cottage, what we saw this summer, Taylor, a sea of yellow. The Colombian fans, we saw them, didn't we, in Brazil? They were everywhere, really illuminated the tournament, and no different in West London tonight. Teams getting set to make their entrance. Jurgen Klinsmann, Taylor, talking a lot about this being a real benchmark for the US. You want to see how good we are right now. This is the benchmark you want to have. They're up against the number 3 team in the world.
Well, you couldn't agree more with that statement. When you look at the amount of attacking players they have, particularly with that man up front, James Rodriguez, and I mean this, without Cristiano Ronaldo, I think everyone in the world is talking about James Rodriguez since his play at the World Cup. It's continued to Real Madrid. And if the United States want to move on in the World Cup and in big tournaments against the likes of Belgium, against the likes of Colombia, this is a good benchmark. But it's also an opportunity, I think, Adrian, to see some younger players, and we're seeing that with Rubin getting his first cap tonight. We're seeing mixed Diskerud in front of a Kyle Beckerman, Greg Garza at left back, DeAndre Yedlin at right back. Because of the friendly, you get an opportunity against a good opponent to maybe test some players out.
Yeah, very much a mixture of experience and experimentation, isn't it, for the US? And it comes at an important juncture as well for Jurgen Klinsmann, who's been very much in the line of fire with some of his comments recently regarding the game domestically and MLS in particular. We will certainly get to those as the game unfolds. Let's listen to the reception for the 2 teams here at Craven Cottage. It is a genuinely iconic landmark. This small, tight stadium holds only about 23,000 until very recently, of course. a Premier League stadium, and with so many American connections here as well. Stadium down by the banks of the River Thames. The United States will play Colombia for the first time since 2010. Game played in a stadium of a similar size at PPL Park in Philadelphia.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hat for the national anthem of Colombia.
Oh, unfading glory, the Colombian national team anthem. The Star-Spangled Banner in London is flying high. What a prospect this is. The number 3 team in the world, Colombia. The United States have a FIFA ranking of 23 right now. Jürgen Klinsmann against Jose Peckerman in terms of the coaching matchup. Two nations who in many ways surpassed expectations in Brazil. The US by emerging from the group of death. Colombia, who surprised, delighted and danced their way to their best ever finish at a World Cup. They made the quarter-final before losing to Brazil. Both teams, though, perhaps left with the nagging feeling that they could have gone one step further.
Well, the roadblock for Colombia in front of them, the host nation in Brazil, I think a little differently than that, though, Adrian. You look at Colombia and their run, I think they should be very proud of that run. The United States, yes, they got out of that group, but that performance against Belgium, you know it's left that bitter taste that maybe they could have done a little bit more. And even for Jürgen Klinsmann, maybe he could have made a couple decisions. One of those players we're seeing tonight in Kyle Beckerman. But you're 100% correct. Both countries got more out of the World Cup than most of us expected.
Two captains meeting in the middle. Two men who had very different experiences in Brazil. Jose Altidore, of course, whose World Cup was cut short to about 22 minutes, and James Rodriguez, This is on the opposite number tonight. A Polish officiating crew, by the way, led by Simeon Marciniak. When you attend a game here at Craven Cottage, you feel like you are right on top of the action. You can almost reach out and touch the players.
Just seeing the crowd, seeing Colombia, this is the test that Jurgen Klinsmann, the United States, initially wanted. Remember, this was supposed to be against Croatia in Croatia. This is a good test. Yes, it's in England, but you look at this crowd, it's full of Colombian fans. It's a good test for young players.
Deep in discussion there, DeAndre Yedlin and Alejandro Bedoya, who will be patrolling the right-hand flank together. The US unbeaten since the World Cup, winning in Europe last time out by a goal to nil against the Czech Republic, but two somewhat disappointing draws on home soil back in October against Ecuador and Honduras. Colombia in October beating El Salvador and Canada. Both of those games played in New Jersey. Away we go. The US all in white. And going from left to right. What is a cool, crisp and clear night in West London. Has been awfully wet for some time here, but conditions fairly good underfoot, given that. And a crowd who are really buzzing and up for this. Perhaps much more so than, you know, average run-of-the-mill friendly. All eyes, perhaps, for the US on number 9 initially. Rubio Rubin getting the start. The offside flag is up. That will deny Theo Gutierrez the chance to go to work. And the Jermaine Jones experiment is going to continue, Taylor. He will play centre-back for the second consecutive game, partnering John Brooks tonight. Brad Guzan, of course, continuing goal. Our Continental Tire analyst corner, Taylor. How about JJ?
And Adrian, it is that Jermaine Jones experiment. It's one thing to defend Honduras. It's another to defend Colombia with their movement, their ability to attack from all areas. A good opportunity tonight for Jermaine Jones, and even a better opportunity for Jurgen Klinsmann to assess where he is as an international center back.
There's a promising foray from Discarud. Elbow Armero putting pay to that. Armero on the ball, who got Colombia's first goal at the World Cup in that 3-0 win against Greece. Discarud has just finished his domestic season in Norway. Armero's throw, the little flick on coming from Bacca. Two relatively new centre-backs tonight for Colombia. The US attack to work against. Josie Altidore will be relishing that prospect, perhaps. Discarud's shot is charged down. Surging one forward. And it's cut out very comfortably in the end. And now Altidore with a chance. Decided to go for goal from long range. Murillo deflecting it behind.
Good early start from both teams, wide open game, but this is why I think Josie Altidore is excited tonight, is because he's up front with a young, exciting playmaker. He's not up front by himself. He's got Rubio Rubin next to him. He'll find those seams. That gives Josie Altidore an opportunity to run the channels one-on-one.
And Bedoya will take the game's first corner. And it comes, just eluding at John Brooks, corner from the same side of the pitch. Found his head against Ghana. Armero. Colombia threatening here with Gutierrez. US defense congealing just at the right moment, and Fabian Johnson is the release valve.
Adrian, that's the test tonight. That is what you and I and everyone else that was in Brazil for the World Cup loved from this Colombia team, is when they break in numbers. But now you're looking at, okay, the United States has numbers back, but they still have the ability to break it down with a James Rodriguez. That is the true test for the United States tonight on the break.
This Colombia team really barnstormed their way through their World Cup group. A 3-0 win against Greece, 2-1 against Ivory Coast, 4-1 against Japan. Uruguay were taken care of in the first knockout round, with James Rodriguez getting the goal of the tournament as part of that 2-0 win, before they came a cropper against the host nation. I have the feeling that perhaps had they met anyone else in the quarterfinals, they may have progressed even further. Jermaine Jones, who won just his second ever cap for the US in that last meeting with Colombia in Philadelphia. That was just over 4 years ago. Flick on from Teo Gutierrez, back up. Now James, prevented from turning. Tees up Sanchez instead, and Carlos Sanchez with a tame effort up against his club teammate tonight. Sanchez and Brad Guzan playing together for Aston Villa. A pair of them didn't have to travel too far from last weekend. They were part of Villa's 0-0 draw in the East End of London against West Ham United. The United States bench scrolling across the top of your screen. Lee Win, who will wear number 8. We expect to see him make his return to the fold at some stage. Morales, Beasley and Beasley. So Miguel Ibarra and Jordan Morris did not make the cut, Taylor, not part of the official matchday squad, despite travelling here. Maybe they will be in Dublin.
Not unusual, though, for players under Jurgen Klinsmann to make the trip, get into the group, but not dress on that game day. It's still important, obviously, Bill Hamid and Sean Johnson as well. But I look at moments like these. This is a true test tonight for the fullbacks of the United States, DeAndre Yedlin and Garza. Because Colombia will high press with their outside wingers in the midfield. Can they get involved in the possession game? Both guys technical. Can Yedlin get forward at times? That's a difficult test in those build-up moments for the United States.
There'll be a lot of eyes and a lot of attention on DeAndre Yedlin. Of course, a future player in this city with Tottenham Hotspur. Jurgen Klinsmann has been getting a lot of attention as well from the London media with his Spurs connections. The team actually trained at the Spurs indoor facility when they first arrived here.
It's been a good start from Jose Altidore tonight. Big, strong, physical, hold and play up. It's important tonight with Colombia putting pressure on the United States that Jose has a good game with his back to goal.
Bedoya, a more positive play. That was ended by Pedro Franco's, winning just his second cap at the back. Jason Murillo, his central defensive partner, winning just his third. So some inexperience centrally in defense for the Cafeteros.
Keep an eye on John Brooks getting that near post.
Still up for grabs. Jones helping it on.
Penalty.
Oh yes, the referee has pointed to the spot, so the United States have been given the chance to take an early lead. The Polish official didn't hesitate for this. Yep. Armero the culprit.
But I think every Colombia player has every right to argue this with this little touch from Rubio Rubin, though. He undercuts Armero there. I'm shocked there wasn't a foul called on Rubio Rubin.
Well, and that's what they're trying to persuade Mr. Marciniak to go across and talk to the assistant on the near side about. Certainly Rubin's body check played a part, didn't it, in the Armero handball? Or was the foul actually spotted? That's what that conversation is all about at the moment. And I believe that decision might have been reversed. No, it hasn't. It is still a penalty. So Jozy Altidore, who hasn't scored a goal of any sort since the friendly against Honduras, has Camilo Vargas to try and beat here. Altidore to give the US a dream start. And he's done it! Vargas went the right way, but Altidore scores. It's goal number 25 for him in a US national team jersey.
And so much has been made about Jozy Altidore at the club level, but what have we seen in Jurgen Klinsmann's past? He wants to give more out of his big-name players. There's a reason why Jozy Altidore is wearing the captain's armband tonight. Is Jurgen Klinsmann wants more out of him. Also, part of that leadership is stepping up in moments like these. From the opening whistle, he's been active, he's been calm, he's been imposing up front. And when you haven't played a while, confidence is low. That's a good penalty from Jozy Altidore.
It's not going to show up on the stat sheet, is it? But Rubio Rubin, by means foul or fair, played a part in that, didn't he, by winning the penalty?
No doubt about it.
Armero penalized for the handball.
I still believe Rubin got away with a little one of undercutting Armero, but the fact is, right place at the right time.
Altidore, with that successful conversion from the spot, moves him to 5th place all time. The United States men's national team, 25 goals and 75 caps. Moves above Joe Max Moore. More frustration for Los Cafeteros as Cuadrado is penalized. Jones back to Guzan, who's been in splendid form for Aston Villa. One of his finer moments with his left foot there. The ideal platform here for Jurgen Klinsmann's side early on. It'll be fascinating to see what sort of response that provokes from Colombia, who didn't get used to trailing too often in the World Cup. Jones all the way forward for Altidore. His frustrations continuing at club level. Taylor has played a grand total of 30 minutes since the last US games in October. A strike partner alongside him tonight, Rubin, is finding his way in Holland, just as Jozy did a couple of seasons ago. I think back to his 36 goals for AZ Alkmaar. Oh, the US have done something they've never done before, and that's score in this city. Their 3 previous trips to London, they held scoreless on all 3 occasions, twice against England, once against Italy. The Italy defeat accounting for a lot of that. That was way back in the 1948 Olympics, so I'm sure if you can read too much into that. Big leap above Fabian Johnson. Inside to Aguilar. Abel Aguilar was a midfield rock in Brazil. James curling in a great delivery. Well, he put it on a plate there for Baca, didn't he? Awkward header for Carlos Baca, who's been in scintillating form. In fact, so many of the Colombian strikers, Taylor, in great club form at the moment.
Little thing here, but does Garza want James Rodriguez to cut back to his left foot? No, keep him on his right. And then the other thing is communication between Jones and Brooks here. Keeping an eye, listen, only Jones' second game as a center back for the United States. Good communication from Brooks and Jones.
Bedoya, meanwhile, released by Rubin. Rubin, by all accounts, has come into the US training camp in a brash and confident mood. Some onlookers even going as far as describing it in a very similar manner in which Landon Donovan first appeared in the US national team camps back in 2000. Yedlin scythe down here. Another set-piece opportunity for the US to work with. Special eye for this man as well, Alejandro Bedoya, who takes it. Good leap initially by Altidore, still alive. Altidore has to settle for the corner. His expression telling the story that there might have been more.
And that's the second set piece from Alejandro Bedoya that's been extremely dangerous, putting it in position to allow his big man Josie Altidore to go up and win it.
Bedoya, whose family are of Colombian heritage. Jones was waiting for that corner, but it was taken off his head, and now with Jones tracked forward, there could be a counter-attack on. Long chase for Cuadrado. Yedlin was the man applying the safety blanket.
Fabian Johnson has to be extremely careful. He's in front of Yedlin for a reason. There's no way James Rodriguez should get on the end of that ball coming off that set piece. Good thing DeAndre Yedlin in a good spot.
Now, the nominees for the United States Soccer Men's Athlete of the Year Award will be announced live on our show, ESPN FC. That'll be this Sunday at midnight on ESPN2. ESPN FC also on tonight at 6 Eastern on ESPN News. And they'll have halftime for us on this game. Also, at the conclusion of this game, lots of ESPN FC to watch. And what is always a busy time of year, another big international break. Lots of talking points to get into, and
I think one of them is going to be the Jeff Carlisle article on ESPN FC about Jurgen Klinsmann, MLS academies. It's a hot topic right now.
It's fair to categorize it as a growing chasm, shall we say, between the vision of Jurgen Klinsmann and the vision of Major League Soccer in terms of youth development in this country. It seems to have really come to a head in the last month. Died out a little bit, didn't it, after Don Garber's remarks back in October. But if you haven't read the ESPNFC.com article by Jeff Carlisle, I would urge you to do so. Beckerman's ball over the top towards Bedoya. He has looked lively early on, hasn't he, Bedoya? It's as though he has been waiting for this moment. He's a man who used to wear a Carlos Valderrama wig as a boy growing up. I mean, he was all about Colombian football. Colombian parents, even though he was born in New Jersey, spoke Spanish at home. His father and grandfather both played professionally in Colombia. Arias and Cuadrado together on the right-hand side, trying to kickstart something for Colombia. James looking to get involved. Cuadrado Going in the direction of Gutierrez instead. Spins out to Sanchez. Armero. As you mentioned, a real examination for Greg Garza tonight, likely. The US left back winning just his 4th cap. James curling it in. Garza has looked quite at home, hasn't he, for Jurgen Klinsmann? Jurgen even saying it looks like he was always with us. Klinsmann and Andreas Herzog deep in discussion together. That's a sloppy ball from Yedlin. And in fact, there was a foul. Yedlin dug a little hole there for the US. Jones tried to get them out of it. Could only have been penalised, I imagine, for Stud's showing, was it? Or possibly
looks like a handball. I think it was a handball. But the problem is that immediately when this foul was called, Jermaine Jones is talking to Brad Guzan. He's also talking to DeAndre Yedlin and John Brooks. Colombia wants Brad Guzan to play to either Jones or Brooks and then high press. Both outside fullbacks have to be ready. Kyle Beckerman has to be an option. That's the only time tonight that the United States has looked a little iffy and had to go to playing a little bit more direct because both Jones and Brooks haven't had enough options.
Now then, the alarm bells clanging rather loudly in the heart of the US defense with this man about to prime the pump for Colombia. James, so he drilled it, and some vicious swerve on the end of it. Free kick that seemed to change its mind halfway through.
And that will drive any goalkeeper nuts, is at least when you're in a 3-man wall, you have to stay in the wall. And immediately this ball's out, Brad Guzan can take a deep breath. He's all in Josie's ear saying either you slide over as a group or you stay inside. Very lucky for the United States.
The Golden Boot winner in Brazil, James Rodriguez, with his 6 goals, including the goal that was voted the goal of the FIFA World Cup. That spectacular winner against Uruguay. I still think Tim Cahill's goal was better, Taylor, but
it's hard to have the argument. Both goals were phenomenal.
Quick look there at Jose Peckerman, who lost his first game at a World Cup finals in that quarter-final against Brazil.
And it's ironic, too, because when Bruce Arena wasn't re-signed in 2006, both Jurgen Klinsmann and Peckerman were announced as candidates for the job. Ultimately, Bob Bradley took it as an interim and ran with it, but Peckerman was in that discussion.
Very interesting, wasn't it? That was post-World Cup 2006, where he'd taken Argentina to the quarterfinals and lost against Jurgen Klinsmann's Germany. That ball helped on by Aguilar. Colombia starting to get their act together here, and that was whistled towards goal by Baca. A little deflection en route.
It's a nightmare, the movement, the interchanging runs. You've got players out wide, you've got center midfielders coming forward. Colombia is a nightmare for any back forward to defend.
Now as with the corner. Cuadrado. Here's Armero. A very robust challenge from Jermaine Jones. Considered a fair one. Discarud away. All hands on deck at the moment for the US defense. Rubin trying to apply the pressure. Franco finding a way out of it. Fabian Johnson, who has changed clubs since the World Cup. Was with Hoffenheim, now Borussia Mönchengladbach, who've been one of the surprise stories this year in Germany. Currently sitting 3rd. Nicely fed through. Gaza is on patrol, though. All good work from Brent Gaza. Brent Gaza, who plays with Club Tijuana, almost quit the game 3 years ago before Tijuana came calling. Here's James. Skewed up into the air by John Anthony Brooks, but no damage done. Grant Druzan is there to claim it. Let's take a look at tonight's performance player fueled by Gatorade. Who is it, Taylor?
It's Rubio Rubin, because from what I've heard inside camp is he's been very good, but more importantly, Adrian, he's been fearless. He's not intimidated coming into this camp. 18 years old, his confidence is very high. Look for him to be that support for Josie Altidore coming forward.
Yeah, more evidence of that confidence right there as he won the free kick against Murillo. He's been starting and starring in the Dutch Eredivisie.
Well, and a little bit of a YouTube legend for U.S. national team fans. Seeing the highlights, 4 assists at Utrecht. He's been very good.
His coach, Ruud Boyens at Utrecht, calling him a player who has the poise of a 25-year-old. Gaza and Bedoya fancying this. It's the latter who takes it, geared towards Altidore. Never reached him. Here's another. Rubin. Taylor is pretty versatile. His coach also said, well, he's not really a number 10, he's not really a number 9, he's a 9.5. Somewhere between an out-and-out centre forward and a playmaker. Here's Altidore. Sanchez, who used the World Cup as a spring forward for his move from Spain to England. So $8 million it cost Villa to bring him from Elche. Here's a man who costs significantly more. James Rodriguez. Down to Almero, who had his spell in this city as well with West Ham last year. Now with AC Milan.
Just the little things from Bedoya's game. We saw it in Brazil during the World Cup. What he puts in on the defensive side of things, it helps a young player like DeAndre Yedlin supporting that overlapping run from Romero.
James' corner, looping header, and Guzan had a long time to watch that come down, didn't they? In the end, it was going in, so he had to tip it over the top. Taking no chances. Here's the follow-up. Oh, and that's more dangerous. There's an infringement spotted by the Polish referee as Franco went skying to meet that.
And better ball in from James Rodriguez. This is more difficult for John Brooks to get on the end of. And mixed history, that is the second time on a set piece defending. He's got caught sleeping on that second ball in the back post.
Brad Guzan, who's had 9 shutouts in 19 career starts, wearing the national team jersey. Pretty useful record by any mark. Here's Cuadrado. A lot of teams wanted to sign him after the World Cup too, but he's stuck with Fiorentina, at least for now. Backer trying to get round the back. Jermaine Jones making sure that didn't happen. Shooting opportunity perhaps on the edge of the area. It's dipped towards the far post instead. And 2 yellow jerseys in the vicinity where Cuadrado put it.
Well, there were many of us that were in the ESPN studios during the World Cup that thought Roberto Martinez would sign Cuadrado. He was in love with his movement, was in love within big games. He would show up, but his pace is mesmerizing, gets after you. Good test tonight for Greg Garza.
And he had a fantastic goal-scoring year last year. Only New Jersey-born Giuseppe Rossi scored more goals for Fiorentina than Cuadrado.
Well, as much as James, excuse me, Adrian, got so much of the play, and rightfully so, Quadrado had 1 goal, 4 assists in Brazil.
He was always a threat and a constant menace, no matter who they were playing. Yedlin perhaps will be doing some apartment hunting as well as playing on this trip. His forthcoming move to Spurs. Yellow card, meanwhile. It's Aguilar who's picked it up. Can't have too many complaints, can he? A tackle with plenty of extra sauce to it from Abel Aguilar. He's a man who once had a high-profile run-in with Zlatan Ibrahimovic, so he's not afraid to mix it up. US trying to play their way out of the back. Yedlin couldn't corral it. Well, is he the answer long-term, Telly? You touched upon it right at the start of the game. Jermaine Jones, second game of this experiment. I think it's still fair to call it that.
No, but often when you say experiment, you think, well, maybe it's 1 or 2 games here. Right. But I think Jermaine Jones is there to stay, because I think that man wants Jermaine Jones part of the picture. I think he also wants him part of the makeup, whether it's qualifying, whether it's the Gold Cup. He wants Jermaine Jones in the picture. I think the bigger statement is, what does it say to Matt Besler, Omar Gonzalez, and Jeff Cameron?
Yep, Besler and Cameron are here. Omar Gonzalez is not. Of course, Jurgen Klinsmann trying to cherry-pick his way around the MLS playoffs, which have reached a critical juncture. He couldn't ignore all the players still involved. Seattle and LA out west. New York and New England in the east. As Altidore tried to make headway, and he's won a free kick. Arias none too pleased about it.
This is why you're just left shaking your head. What if this man was healthy in Brazil? It's in these moments. These are little things, but when you're defending for the last 7-8 minutes the way the United States have, you need a guy up front to take the pressure off you. That's a great play from Jose Altidore.
Captain for the 3rd time in the last 4 games tonight. Of course, they won 1-0 under his captaincy in the Czech Republic back in September. Bedoya and Garza trying to come up with the perfect delivery between them here. Brooks, a very interested party. They've rolled it short instead, a different angle. And not a profitable one, as it turned out. Beckerman there to rekindle the attack. Discaroo did well. Altidore couldn't quite latch on. Yedlin's throw. Seized upon by Sanchez. James. All of Colombia's strikers available tonight came in close to red-hot form for their clubs. Banker has been banging them in for Sevilla. 7 goals in 11 games. Gutierrez even better for River Plate in Argentina. And a chance for Banker to make his mark now, and it's the outside of the post that has denied him. That was careless at the back by the US. Guzan trying to make his point.
And Adrian, it's more of the, in the midfield, that is the 2nd bad giveaway from Fabian Johnson. How good is this from Brad? Oh, that's off the outside of the post. Initially, you thought Guzan made a save, but Jermaine Jones and John Brooks, look at that, immediately upset with Fabian Johnson. That is a terrible giveaway in the midfield.
Fabian Johnson, who was undoubtedly one of the stars of the show at the World Cup. He's one of those players that Jurgen Klinsmann mentioned hasn't been quite at the same level since the return from Brazil.
Well, a lot of people thought that Jurgen Klinsmann's quote about the dip after the World Cup was for MLS players, but the reality is it's as much for the European-based players. John Brooks, Julian Green, Fabian Johnson, all of those players. Yeah. Timmy Chandler not making the move that Jurgen Klinsmann wants. Josie Altidore is in that equation.
And Fabian Johnson has found himself not in the starting 11 of late for Borussia Mönchengladbach. Also an unused substitute over the weekend. A defeat against Dortmund.
Well, I think it's a huge question over the next 2-3 years for Jurgen Klinsmann is what is Fabian Johnson's best position?
He seems to have many, Taylor.
You could argue that he may be the best player in 3 spots for Jurgen Klinsmann, but if Yedlin, Greg Garza, if they can find 2 real fullbacks, that gives Jurgen Klinsmann more of an attacking player that they desperately needed in the World Cup.
Cuadrado is going to get the free kick this time. He sliced between 2 US players, including captain Josie Altidore, who will pick up a yellow card for his transgression. So booking to go with his goal in an adventurous first 45 minutes for Altidore. Quick shapeshifter move, wasn't it, from Cuadrado? And again, cue the spotlight on James Rodriguez, who at any other club in the world would have the spotlight firmly on him, but he's been overshadowed by Cristiano Ronaldo's exploits with Real Madrid this season. She quite vocal and complaining a little bit this week, saying he had to play a lot deeper for Real Madrid. There's more freedom when he plays for his country. Four-man wall, ordered up by Guzan, who continues to bark out the orders. It's Cuadrado, though, who takes it. A bit of a change of approach. Cuadrado's right-footed curler, always going too high. Now, this is just the start of a couple of friendlies in Europe for the US. In fact, CONCACAF teams in general. Mexico will be in Belarus. We'll have that game for you on Tuesday, 11:55 a.m. Eastern start on ESPN News. And then later on Tuesday, ESPN2, 2:30 Eastern, the US and their trip to take on Ireland at Dublin's Aviva Stadium. Both games also live on the Watch ESPN app.
Is Carlos Vela going to Belarus or no?
The header is available there for Rubin, and what a chance to make his mark as that flashed in. He lost his marker, couldn't find the back of the goal.
And good work from Kyle Beckerman in a tight spot to deliver a great ball in behind for Rubin to get on the end of. This is a great ball with the left foot from Kyle Beckerman. And that's what Rubin does, coming off the shoulder of Josie Altidore. He now can find himself one-on-one. Good ball in.
Just a little too high for Rubin, wasn't he? Couldn't get a proper connection on it. And more signs of promise here for the US. It's a little too heavy from Diskerud. Or Bedoya would have been away and going to work. Jurgen Klinsmann, a man who knows this city very well for his 2 years with Spurs. Looking for win number 34 in his stewardship. Third all-time already behind Bruce Arena and Bob Ragland. Cuadrado perhaps trying to force the issue. Jose Pekerman, who was the first non-Colombian to manage Colombia in 30 years, criticised for almost everything when he first took over. His age, his squad, his substitutions, even the low tone of his voice. how quickly that changed. He was voted Colombia's Man of the Year last year and given citizenship.
When he gets out of young players and gives those young players opportunities, how can you criticize Peckerman for developing young players at the international level? We saw it at Youth World Cups. It's remarkable to me going into the World Cup that he was criticized, and then you see what Colombia did. You almost want to have Peckerman say, I told you so.
Right. Remember, still no Radamel Falcao either. Jose Peckerman, to do without him at the World Cup. Here's a run from Yedlin to a lot of space. Yedlin's cross wasn't in a bad position, but everyone had crashed in. I don't know, maybe you disagree, Taylor. It was beyond the far post, wasn't it?
No, and Yedlin had all the space in front of him. His first two touches took him wider than he needed to be. But with his speed, he's still got the opportunity to deliver a better ball in, Adrian.
It's going to be really fascinating to see how quickly Yedlin is able to adapt to the English Premier League. When he finally makes his move, that is. We still don't know exactly when that's going to be. There's been some Latvian heritage that's starting to play into that process. It's the rather draconian UK work permit regulations that are the obstacle at the moment. Be interested to see how Spurs view him as well, Taylor. Is he going to be a right back? I mean, they have Kyle Walker and Eric Dyer in that position. Now the flick through from Bacca. Bacca immediately on the scene again. Aguilar, James, Amero. The US defense holding firm though for now.
It's ridiculous how good James Rodriguez is playing off the shoulder of Kyle Beckerman in just little flicks, little touches to get his two center forwards one-on-one.
Amero, they're appealing for a decision which never came. And while the hands were in the air, the US defense was almost punished. There'll be a reprieve now thanks to that foul on Diskerud.
The last two plays for Colombia coming forward, Adrian, it's just little touches, little flicks.
A lot of arms in the air and appealing there, Taylor, while play was raging on. Inside the final 5 minutes of the first half. So glad you could join us. Adrian Healy and Taylor Twellman. As the United States begin to bring the curtain down on what has been a memorable 2014 for them. The curtain will come down in Dublin on Tuesday. We'll have the crew from ESPN FC for you at halftime as well, including, we think, an appearance by Alexi Lalas. Told he will be there. The United States have only beaten Colombia 3 times in their history. The man alongside me was on the pitch last time it happened, back in 2005. March of 2005. I seem to remember you didn't finish up on the pitch in that game, Taylor. Is that correct?
Yeah. Appreciate you bringing up my only red card in the U.S. uniform.
Don't remember you getting many, but I was surprised to remind myself of that little gem of a statistic.
And with all respect to Colombia, by the way, I think they sent over the C team or D team for that matter. It was a March game at Cal State Fullerton. This is a different Colombia.
Well, it was a different U.S. back there. And the goal scorers, Clint Mathis, Pat Noonan, and Chad Marshall, who scored on his US debut that day against Colombia. Marshall, part of the Seattle team now, who have a Western Conference final against LA to look forward to. Yedlin, we assume, will be returning to Seattle right after this game. Colombia striving to get back on level terms before the break here. Back up at Yedlin. With a determined challenge.
And that's where Yedlin has improved over the last 2-3 months for me. He was one-on-one defending, his position sense, not always being in no man's land. We saw it in the leg one against FC Dallas. His recovery speed is one thing, but his position sense next to the center back has improved immensely over the last 2-3 months. There's no denying he's got a bright future, Adrian, but at the international level, at the level that he'll be at Tottenham, his position sense defensively has to improve.
He had to come across there in a hurry to close down Armero. Altidore. Outlet there by Murillo. It's Aguilar. Still Colombia asking plenty of questions here. Sanchez thought about the shot and then thought better of it. On the overlap, Arias feeding it in. Bacca still has it. Bacca! Was that a handball? Huge appeals. Bacca saw a shot cannon into John Brooks. Jermaine Jones, I think was actually the...
Yeah, Brooks came sliding in, Adrian, last minute, but that ball hit the midsection of Jermaine Jones.
Now sliding in again, and a fair challenge from Brooks this time. Colombia not getting the decisions there. Craven Peckerman can't believe it. Well, the US surviving a couple of dicey moments at the back. And there may be some more to come yet before the halftime whistle goes. Here's Armero. Yedlin not fooled, held his ground, and ended up.
Good play from two youngsters there, DeAndre Yedlin, and then Rubio Rubin, understanding the time of the game, the pressure they're under, drawing a foul here, but we see, oh boy.
It was Jones, and it was a handball, wasn't it?
That's a penalty. It's a penalty.
Not quite sure how referee Marciniak didn't see that, but they've dodged a major bullet there.
Well, and I'm sure people will say that distance may have played a part of that and how close Jermaine Jones was. Ball hit him flat out the left arm.
Wasn't that close, was it? He had time to get the arm out of the way as Bedoya will be penalised for that. Well, the US were the beneficiaries of the handball given in one penalty area. Same decision not given at the other. James escaping the clutches of Beckerman. It's always a tough thing to do. Eduardo. Beckerman at full stretch. This time couldn't bring it in. James. Aguilar, teed up for James, who went for the placement rather than power. And that proves to be the final moment of the first half.
USA 1, Colombia 0.
Entertaining fare here at Craven Cottage. Lots for the crowd to digest, lots for our ESPN FC crew to digest. Dan Thomas, Shaka Hislop, Craig Burley and Alexi Lars will break down the first half and highlights from the Euro 2016 qualifying action next.